Hi friends, my name is Jess and TTRPGs have been my hyperfixation for the last 5 years or so. I am so excited to do a virtual flip through of the Mimicnomicon grocery store edition from Little Cord with y'all this week. So before I dig into this amazing packet, I just want to give some big kudos to Raphael for this gorgeous cover art. Math is not necessarily my strong suit, but I counted at least 12 mimics packed into this front page. I love it so much. It really gives you a sense of what to expect inside of the packet. Anyway, the Mimicnomicon is a really fun project that gives game masters and DMs alike an arsenal of mimics to wreak havoc on their players. This particular chronicle is set in the grocery store, and as you can see, has 15 different mimics for GMs to choose from. For newer GMs, and for even GMs that just like to kind of use their own and make their own monsters, there's a nice little how to use this packet page, and I love how it talks about how there are multiple packets, like the kitchens and taverns packet, with mimics like a piano, frying pan, butter dish, and more. There is a whole nother video coming though to explore that packet. So let's get back to the grocery store and start spotlighting a few of these bad boys, or should I say bad apples. So first up is an apple mimic, which is kind of terrifying. I've bitten into a fake piece of fruit before. Hear me out. I was 7 years old and my grandma had like a basket of fake fruit and I was so hungry, and I took a bite out of a fake pear, and let's just say it took a really long time for me to try to eat another pear after that. So I could not imagine like biting into an apple and then having that apple try to take a bite back out of you. So I love that this entry even includes the trees that mimic apples grow from. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's really neat. As it says here, mimic trees are not organic life forms. They're actually incubators for juvenile mimics disguised as plant life. Again, I think this is terrifying, but also really neat at the same time. Talking about terrifying, can we look at this art from Carlos? I really love those seedy eyes and that worm tongue. I think it's really fun. And something that I like about all of the Mimicnomicon entries is that they come with what the mimic looks like when it's concealed, what it looks like when it's revealed, in addition to fun little notes that you can see here down at the bottom, like this medieval to modern and beyond bit that talks about how mimic fruit are appropriate in any time period. They also come with a completed stat block, which includes other locations that you might find that particular mimic. For the apple, it's the kitchen, a carnival, as well as a farm to get you started. Overall, as an eater of many apples, I would quite literally cry if I ever came across an apple mimic, and I would avoid them like the plague afterwards. Up next, we have the tiered cake. Can you imagine, on the day of your daughter's wedding, ordering a nice tiered cake from the store, and when she goes to cut into that cake, the mimic decides to cut back into her? Whew, honestly, that is such a BBEG moment. Nobody spoke during the objections portion of the wedding, so instead they thought they'd send you this mimic cake. That's messed up, but I love it. The time period modifications for the tiered cake include changing it to a simpler cake, making it a custard or a pudding, etc. I love on this next page that they say that you can also use the sugar high stats block for another mimic dessert. There's also the buttercream blast action, which is where the mimic shoots a blast of buttercream from the top tier of the mimic cake in a 15-foot cone. I think that's really goofy and also just really fun. I love how all of the different mimics in this, they're all unique. They're not, similar with their moves, with their actions. They're all very unique, and I think that's really fun. Other locations that you might find the tiered cake are, as you guessed it, a wedding, a banquet hall, or even a picnic. And for the last mimic, we've got the Veggie Swarm, because what GM doesn't want to overwhelm their players with a swarm of cucumbers named Larry? Imagine they walk up to the farmer's market stall inquiring about the price of tomatoes, and instead of being greeted by a friendly face, they get smacked by 100 tomatoes that want to turn the adventures into a salad instead of the other way around. I think the concealed veggie swarm entry is incredibly devious and really reminds me of actually walking into a store. It says, cool air spreads across the fresh produce section of the grocery. 30 feet of open shelving units are filled to the brim with brightly covered fresh vegetables separated by type. The heads of lettuce, carrots, cucumbers, and tomatoes sparkle in the light, recently doused in the glistening droplets of water. See what I mean? That is exactly what it's like walking into the grocery store. At least for me, every time I go to pick up a cucumber, I always get hit with the little spraying jets. Besides the grocery store, you can also find the veggie swarm at the community gardens, the kitchen, the farmer's market, and more. Beyond the mimics, there's a fun little mini game of finding the Spoon Goon lurking among the pages of the Mimicnomicon. And honestly, there you have it, folks. That is my 3 mimic flip through of the 15 mimics that you can find right here in the Mimicnomicon grocery store. I love the thought, I love the care that the team at Little Core put into this packet of love as well as terror for all of these mimics. I'm really looking forward to the next edition of the Mimicnomicon and hope for a future edition that includes the beach. Could you imagine a sand mimic? That sounds unbeach leafable. Okay, I'll see myself out.